complex validations in .NET options pattern can be tricky with the complex objects. Why? Have a look at this one. There is city mode object, and inside it there is an array which has cities, and in the array the item is the name and the weather mode is sunny, rainy, or cloudy. And if you go to the program class in here, if you look here, the weather mode is actually a enumeration, and the city itself has a name and the weather mode. Both properties are required. Now here is the city mode where we're holding the cities list, and it is required. And if you would like to validate the items inside that list, you would have to use this attribute class or annotation on the property itself. Otherwise it will not validate the items inside the array. So that's number one, in order to validate a complex object. Now I want to take you back here. I'm adding it like this, add options, and then binding it with the section by using the required section, and then validate the annotations and do it on start. Okay, and here I'm just fetching the value so we can see that what values we got. Let's run it and find out what's the deal with it. Now if you go to city mode and you got 3 values, cool, right? Now if I go back in here, if I make this cloudy one, and notice that there is no enumeration with the value of cloudy one. Now what is supposed to happen? It should throw an exception, right? Or do something else. Well, let's check out the value in here. Oh, it only has 2 values in the array. Okay, so this is a sneaky failure because clearly this item does not fit the criteria. Okay, and we said it is required, and we have an enumeration with these 3 values, and cloudy one does not exist. Now you are doing everything and wondering what's wrong with it. Apparently there is nothing wrong with it, and we are validating the items as well. How? Let me actually, for example, if I remove this, since this is required, you will notice that it will throw an exception. As expected, the name is required, so we have to specify it. But when the particular enumeration was not there, it actually failed to notify us about anything. Now what we can do and how we can fix the problem, there are 2 ways. Well, the first one is relatively simple, is that this overload provides a binder option. When you say binder option, you can say options, so you have to specify error unknown configuration. If I mark this as true, now what will happen is that if any configuration right in here does not fit the criteria, does not match with the objects in the configuration with the properties, since this property is typed like this, the cloudy one does not exist, it will error out. Instead of returning us 2 item arrays, it will actually throw the error. So it is saying fail to convert cities 2. As you can notice that it is referencing the item number 2, weather mode it cannot convert. That is why it is failing. Well, there is another way. If you don't want to use this or somehow you missed it, but that is a great finding when I faced this problem and found it. You can actually enable ahead of time compilation to generate the binding of configuration settings with your C# classes at the build time, only for the configuration. As you can see, enable configuration binding generator, so it will use source generator to generate all the code for you. Instead of using reflection, it is going to use the source generator. Okay, that is cool. Now let me run it. Since it's source generator, so it will have to actually pass that string value to match with the enumeration, which it failed, so that is why it is throwing an exception. And you can see that we are not using error on unknown itself. So the source generator goes in here. Let me take you in here. As you can see, this is the source generator, and if you keep going, you will see that delay duration, cities, bind core. So it is actually binding generating. So here is the it is trying to convert the enumeration. If it failed to convert, it throws the exceptions. Now, this ahead of time compilation is not tied with the whole project ahead of time compilation. It is only for the options pattern which we are using in here. So it will generate all the code to bind the configuration settings with the classes, with the object, and you can access it inside your code, be it ASP.NET Web API, Blazor, or Worker Server, which we are experimenting with. Pretty cool, right? Ahead of time. Okay. Well, please subscribe my channel. That will be great help. And thank you very much for watching.